All right. In the last video, I said to leave questions about pretty much anything, so let's get to answering and let's get to it. Can you give me advice for aiming on mouse? I want to start uploading some clips from Siege and COD. Yeah, that one's easy. This is something I've been preaching for like forever. I mean, even for a while, if you've been around long enough, you know, in my like one of my commands, I do have a sensitivity now, but for a while it was just use what's comfortable because it's the truth, and I mean that to the fullest extent. You have to find a mouse that is comfortable, mouse pad, sitting position, arm position. Like some people just play with, you know, just like their wrists kind of hanging on the desk on their mouse pad. Other people like myself will have much more of their arm. Um, you have to find what is really comfortable for you and go from there, brother. That's where it should start. So I love the videos. My question is, how do you micro move your aim with such consistency and smoothness? Also, can you explain how you manage your in-game inventory so well? Thank you, Havoc. What's up, Havoc? Nice to see you, brother. Appreciate you sliding always, man. Um, yeah. How do you micro move your aim with such I would largely attribute all of that to repetitions. That's just something that I think comes with absolute comfort in your sensitivity. It's just comfort all the way down. It's like it's extreme comfort in your sensitivity, and underneath that, I would say extreme comfort in your mouse pad. Just feeling almost it's you know, it might sound like dorky, but just feeling like one. You know what I mean? And on top of that, I would just say repetitions. Once you've established comfort, repetitions of being in those situations, you know, transferring from angle to angle or where a person could be, you know, doorway, doorway, window, window, over and over and over again to the point where you can be in two different scenarios but see enough of the similarities in them to where you have a good feel of how much you're going to have to move your hand or arm depending on, you know, high or low sense, if it's more of this as opposed to as to this. I really believe that's all it comes down to. Kovacs routine, aim trainers. The answer is no to both. I don't use aim trainers. I never have and probably never will. So, you know, therefore I don't have a Kovacs routine. There's there's a lot of use you can get out of them. For me, it got to a point where when I feel like I don't know how long aim trainers have been around, but when it started to show up more, I feel like in the spaces that I was in, we were in. I guess I'm largely talking about Warzone 1, you know, COD 2019, when people started to like, oh, aim training, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I had just reached a point where I didn't really see the benefit from participating in them. It's probably true that there is something I could gain from them, but I've always just, you know, I just felt like playing the game was infinitely more beneficial than just the. I know we've all seen like the memes of aim trainers, you know, where it's just like you get into a someone's in front of you and you start like clicking the dots. That's obviously like an exaggeration. There's definitely some benefit that can be had from them. And again, there's probably some use that I can get from them too, but I just don't really care to use them. Again, I haven't and I probably won't. But I think the thing with aim trainers is when you're starting brand new on mouse and keyboard, you can learn a lot from them. I feel like there's really no disputing that. Understanding like just how to use a mouse and keyboard. But I do feel it starts to get to a point where the return on participating so much in aim trainers it just becomes more and more minimal. And it's just going to get to a point where you're using the aim trainer more so because it's just a game. I believe there's even tournaments now for them, but I just think it starts to get to a point where you start using or people start, especially now, people just start, they use the aim trainer because it's like, it's a game for them. And, you know, it should be, it's, you know, it's fun. That's what it's all about. That's what we're doing, you know, just playing games and having fun. But, it's just not something that I care too much about. So yeah. What's your most used gun in Black Ops 6, as well as what's your favorite setup for said weapon? The FAMAS right here. This is the setup that I was running. I toyed with overpressured and what was it? The compensator? Yeah, a little bit. But generally this is what I run. Glad to see you're back, bro. Can you talk a little bit about game sense? Feel like there ain't really much about it on YouTube. Thank you, bro. Yeah, game sense, man, it's just awareness. That's really all it is. And that awareness is only going to come with a lot of experience, a lot of playing time in FPSs in general. Because when you invest so much time, when you play so many FPSs, obviously there's transferable information, transferable skills, etc., etc. But game specific, game sense, it's just awareness. It's just situations that you got to be in, failures and successes that you have to have. You're just going to be bad at it. Your game sense, your overall awareness for things is going to be really low, as opposed to when you log 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 hours. The situations that you're going to find yourself in and how familiar you are with them and how you're going to handle them in your head, you know, game sense, it just comes, there's no shortcut to it. You just have to, you have to be in them a lot, and you have to also, I would suggest, watching players. You have to just watch good players be good at the thing that you're trying to also be good at. There's a lot. If you have the brain for being able to, like, it's essentially watching film. If you know what to look for when you're watching film, when you're VOD reviewing, when you're watching other players, be it in their YouTube videos or streams, it's going to be extremely helpful. If you don't really know what to look for, if you don't know what questions to ask, it's going to be more difficult. But that is game sense, brother. Are you using automatic tactical sprint and omni movement, or what are your movement settings since yours doesn't look quote unquote floaty at all? I'm pretty sure omni movement is a setting that you can't turn off, but for my sprint, yeah, I don't use auto tac sprint. I like being able to walk up to angles, things like that. I don't know where. Right here. I think, yeah, I even have walk behavior on slow as opposed to, I don't know if that's the default setting, but yeah, those are pretty much, those are the settings, brother. So yeah. I just never really cared for auto tac sprint. Again, coming from a game like Siege that I played a good bit of, I like being able to walk up to an angle. Yeah, I just like being able to walk. That's pretty much it. Do you prioritize firing, aim stability, and your attachments? What's the priority when making builds? Love your content. You inspire me. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. The answer is yes. I definitely prioritize. Well, there's two things. One is the stability. You know, trying to get it to shoot as flat as possible, trying to eliminate a lot of left, right, jerking around, and the other is velocity. 2019, you know, back in the heyday, the pog times of Warzone. Not really something you had to concern too much for, but ever since the game has changed as much as it has, accounting for both of those things, I feel like especially a lot of velocity, you can't really beam and like rope people the way that you used to with rifles. It's better in Black Ops 6, but it's not the same. But those are the two things: definitely velocity and getting it to shoot as flat as possible. You play on instant or gradual on COD? Honestly, dude, with a lot of these little smaller settings, I really don't change. Where's this thing? Right there. I feel like I don't change a lot of settings. I do change some keybinds, like that's just like a comfort thing, but I don't really change too much. But yeah, there it is, gradual. What monitor do you use, and do you use backlight strobing like Dyac or ULMB2? I use a BenQ Zowie. What is it, an XL2546, I believe it is. Yeah, it's just a white monitor with pink accents. And yes, I do use Dyac. I believe, one second. So there's off, high, and premium. I have mine set to high. But yeah, that's about it, man. Monitor color settings or Nvidia AMD color settings. Also brightness on monitor and in-game. So should be, where is this? Right here. Monitor brightness is set to 47. I kind of have my monitor tailored to, what would you say? Like eye health. I have the low blue light turned all the way up. I don't keep it as bright. And for the Nvidia control panel, I got one sec. Yeah, this should about do it. All right, cool. You still play with pincer claw? If so, what has been the biggest notable improvement or tweak you have made to improve consistency and accuracy? The only things that have really changed, regardless of the grip, is the mouse, it being lighter to the touch as well, the clicks, and the mouse pads. The mouse pads I feel like have artisan pads I feel like they have led to higher highs in terms of just overall play and ability to, just aim, etc., etc. But that is also coupled with my sense. When I changed what I changed, when I wanted to try a new, I kind of changed everything, and it was, you should change one thing at a time. But I changed the mouse, I changed the mouse pads, and I changed the sensitivities. I went higher. So those are the things that are/were changed. And again, I do feel like I've had higher highs because of the pads and the sense, but also lower lows. Before switching and wanting to try other things with this, with just all this tech, basically, I just had one sense. I stayed within a small window of it. I didn't really move it too high, and one mouse pad. So it was real easy to find consistency. This, it doesn't mean that I can't play. It's just, it is a little more difficult to find that consistency for me because I've had these pads for like 5 months now, 5, 6 months, and I still have not found like a definitive, like I will not move from this sense. And mind you, in the video that I just made, I did pretty much play on 9.51, but this sense right here, I was constantly changing, as well as the pads. I used all 7 actually pads in that video that I just made, all the zeros, all the Type 99s, as well as I purchased a Zowie HSR, I think it is. So I was using all of them, man, and this changed all the time. Anywhere from, I think the lowest I went was 0.71, and then the highest was like 0.93 is where I was changing this a lot. But yeah, that's about it, brother. All right, what made the old ZA13 white such a long-term choice, especially given the ZA13 had quite a few solid refreshes over the years? All right, if the audio sounds off, I apologize. I had to edit this in because I don't know what the hell I was talking about when I was answering this initially. But the two biggest reasons that, or really the only reasons that kept me from moving off of the old ZA13, the white one, was one, the gloss finish, and two, the weight. The gloss finish had a grip to it that just felt like I had more control over the overall mouse, and it felt really, really good. The second being the weight. I really didn't mind the weight. I honestly, actually, I liked it. Now, I didn't think I was gonna like the lighter weight of the C that I use now, but I do. And honestly, I do wish I could go back to the white one. But the thing that keeps me from going back to the white one is the necessary pressure to, what is it, actuate a click on the mouse 1, mouse 2, and the side buttons is, there's way more pressure required, I noticed, compared to the C, and I don't like that at all. Also, the scroll wheel is way more muddier on my original white one. So, but when and if they release a gloss finish for the DW, you better believe I'm gonna cop that because I like the gloss finish that much. So, all right. I do wish you could give a more in-depth explanation of how you grip your ZA13 step by step and things you avoid with your grip or contact points on the mousepad you personally don't like when tracking for other targets. For example, your palm near your thumb side doesn't have contact with the mousepad at all. All right. So the way I generally hold the mouse is, it changed a little bit when I switched to this mouse because this mouse was a little lighter. I feel like on the white gloss original ZA13, it just had, it's hard to explain. It just had a slightly different touch. So I feel like a little more up on the mouse right here. But on this one, I find myself kind of a little more relaxed and pulled back. The grip is generally the same, but it's just a slight detail, a slight difference. All right, generally, I keep my pinky and my thumb right here. My thumb kind of sits, let me see if I can show you. Right where my middle finger is, my thumb kind of sits right there. And that is just how I keep the mouse held. And the rest of my fingers kind of fall into place. I really like that I can kind of pull the mouse in almost any direction a good bit when playing. It's just, I don't know, it feels really good. As far as contact points, like you mentioned, you are correct. The left side of my hand, my thumb side, yeah, no part of my, like this sort of fleshy part of your thumb, it does not touch the mouse pad at all. It stays elevated the entire time. However, the right side of my hand, the only part, the main part that's making contact with the mouse pad and that I'm kind of using to like basically rest on is the lower part of your hand, kind of like more the base down here. is the only part that really has contact. Not even my pinky really. I guess you could say the end of my pinky makes like small contact with the mouse, or sorry, the mouse, well, the mouse and the mouse pad. But aside from that, that's pretty much how I grip the mouse. As far as tracking farther targets, there's been like some slight changes, I guess, in the way that I will like track or aim at people, but that's only, well, that's large part because of two things. One, I increased my sense, and two, I use different mouse pads. So for example, I love the Type 99s, but the problem with the Type 99s is with or without a sleeve. I am getting a new sleeve to see if it kind of remedies that situation. But with or without a sleeve, the friction on those mouse pads, and even a little bit of the zero, but less so. Um, it's got so much pull that I find myself having to do a lot more of like this, where the kind of base of my hand right here is kind of stationary, and if a target kind of goes out of my capability, like in this area, I'll need to do some sort of a reset. Whereas typically before on the glorious, that was not. I could kind of just glide, and I can do it a little bit on the zeros, but it's different across the board. And you go in depth on what peripherals you use. Also, the previous Battlefield 6 video you mentioned, you went through some mouse pads. Talk about what mouse pad you main right now and why. Another edit. I'm gonna list off all of the peripherals that I use, but something I want to make mention of is that all of my stuff is really old. And part of the reason why it's old is because I'm not too big on getting newer things just for the sake of newer things. I know it can be fun to get new tech and just try it out, but for the sake of solely improving, you know, it's like the saying goes, like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That kind of applies heavily to like a lot of my stuff. I mean, up until recently, I didn't even change my mouse. I only did that because it was just a spur of the moment curiosity type thing. I know it can definitely be the case that, you know, getting newer, improved tech can help you improve as a player. But something that reinforces the position that I hold is when I see players get really wrapped up in and hyper focusing on getting newer tech, you know, lighter mice and better sensors, there's no real improvement. So yeah, if there's no like super strong reason for me to get something new, I won't, and that's why a lot of my stuff is old. Save for the mouse and the mouse pad. So anyways, to list off the things, I use a Zowie ZA13. The mouse pad that I'm using, I'm not really, you asked if which one am I maining and why. The answer, like I mentioned earlier, is I'm not. I really like the zeros and the Type 99s. I like them because they have pretty good control. The Type 99s have more control than the zeros, but the thing about the Type 99s is there's a lot of friction when you're gliding your wrist or your arm, your hand across the pad, more so than the zeros. So I do like both of them because they offer a lot of control. I really do like the Type 99s. It's just this thing with the friction as opposed to the zeros. The glide in your there's a lot less friction when you're moving your arm and your hand across them. So for the mouse pads, I'm using all of the Type 99s and the zeros. My keyboard is a Ducky 1.2 Mini with taysh rubber keycaps. My microphone is an Audio-Technica AT2020 USB Plus, just plugs right into the rig. My earphones, I use in-ears, are Sennheiser CX 3.0s, and I use my earphones plug into a mixamp that is a Astro Mixamp Pro TR. Finding on the Battlefield 6 video, subbed instantly. What chair and monitor are you running? I'm in the market for both. Thank you, bro. The monitor and all that other stuff I already addressed, but the chair I'm using is, mind you, like I just mentioned, it's old, but it is a, what is it? It's a Secret Lab Titan Evo, and it is the soft weave material, and I got it in black, so pretty comfortable. Support is good. It's not too soft. It's pretty firm. It's a good chair. I like it. I would get another one if I was looking for a new chair. So with this one, I think I've covered most of what's in here except for the sitting and arm position. You're talking about still wrapping your head around mouse and key. Find that sort of thing useful. One thing that I would give you advice on in regards to your sitting and arm position, I would say if you have the space, you know, if you don't, then it kind of is what it is. Just experiment with probably putting your hand, your arm more up on your desk. Like right now, my elbow's sitting on my desk. Usually I'm kind of like right here, so my elbow's just off. But I would say mess around with that, man. That is also going to play into your sensitivity, whether or not you play high or low. A lot of players, if you do play on high, you don't need that much clearance, and a lot of times players will even just kind of play with just their wrist. I almost said wrist and T-Rex because I was thinking T-Rex. They T-Rex it. They just keep their wrists on the edge and just play like that. But that's a piece of advice I would give you. But again, for everything else, I think I've spoke on it. So, did bro finally buy a new mouse? Is that an OP1 8K? Nope, ZA13C. For Q&A, what type of gunfights should I be taking to be controller players more consistently? Fights where you're not giving aim assist an advantage. Honestly, that's the truth. So, I would say the easiest one is not close fights. That's where they're going to have the easiest time beating you. And when you are taking close fights, don't be afraid to on ADS hip fire a lot when you're taking those really really close fights. There's plenty of times where I'm doing it. Another thing I would say use a lot of cover, not just exclusively using like head glitch angles, but just utilizing cover well and making it difficult, making it really really like a tight angle for them to have to even begin to get shots on you. When you utilize cover that well, a lot of times if your aim is sharp enough and you're quick enough, you can fry them before they get, some damage done onto you. Now, something attached to that is if they are a better player and they're just gonna drag their sights onto you when they do lock on you, it the fight is, I would say, no longer heavily in your favor. But yeah, I would say those things across the board would help you beat controller players. I have a pretty odd question, but I think it'll be something cool to talk about. Does Siege shape the way you play other FPS games? When I look at your Siege videos and I look at your COD videos, I see similarities in your playstyle, taking things slow, but also thinking fast, positioning yourself before you do something, etc. I think it's really fascinating. The answer is yes, man. It's really obvious to see for anyone that's paying attention, and it especially stands out in a game like Call of Duty where the norm is to play super fast and super aggressive. That's not to say that, I have my own way of playing aggressive, you know what I mean? But it's usually in the form of aggressing with cover, utilizing a lot of cover or creating your own type of cover and a lot of crosshair placement where, again, typically in a game like Call of Duty, people are just playing really, really fast, higher sensitivities and running around just super, super aggroing each other. So yeah, I think a reason why I also have continued to play the same way is because it just seemed to really I could make it work and fit into any FPS. I mean, it's a little difficult to have, failures utilizing cover and crosshair placement. It does mean, you just play the game differently. So yeah, brother. Siege has definitely shaped the way that I play FPSs, and I have fun doing it. So is what it is. I'm assuming you mean all of them, so I will just kind of skim through them, and then I'll go ahead and let you pause where you need to. I don't feel like the keybinds are as useful, but I'll go ahead and... I think these are even less relevant, but... There's that, and... I guess I'll drop these two. Audio, I don't think this matters too much, but... Alright, that about covers it. What are you using to record? Looks good. Thank you, brother. I use OBS. I used to use, what was it, Shadowplay? Nvidia Shadowplay for a long time, but I use OBS now. Alright, I had an exchange with someone who was asking for any tips for someone that sucks at FPSs. How do I get to this level? And I responded with 1, play a lot, and 2, watch good players and learn why they do what they do. They responded with any recommendations to people explaining why they do the things they do. I don't know a single YouTuber who does that. And that's true. I don't know any YouTubers who do that for their own gameplay either. The only player I've actually ever seen do that is a CS player, and I don't really follow CS, but I believe his name was Nothing. It was pretty cool to watch. He was just casually playing and breaking down why he was doing what he was doing. And it was working, so you were seeing the success like real time, and it was pretty cool. If you really want to help yourself get better at really anything, it could be a sport, it could be an instrument. In this case, it's, getting better at a game. You have to be able to watch players that are better than you and really understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. If it's difficult for you, you know, at the beginning, I would tell you, I would advocate for you to just give it more time, because just logging into the game and failing and kind of banging your head against the wall, it's going to limit your ability to get better. You have to be able to watch better players and learn, watch and learn, you know? It really is that simple. Now, like we agreed, we don't know any YouTubers who are doing that for their own gameplay, but there are creators out there who do cover professional players or just really skilled streamers, just gamers across the board. They do cover their gameplay and they do break it down in an informative way that helps people learn. I remember when I was grinding Siege and I was really trying to get better, one thing I did all the time was watch pro matches. And in the pro matches, the casters, that reminds me actually, CS casters are really good for this. I don't even care about CS like that, but watching professional CS is pretty entertaining, and what helps that is the casters. They're really skilled at breaking down plays and helping you kind of keep up with why everyone is doing the things that they're doing when they're talking about, you know, holding an angle or smokes, you know, baiting, etc., getting a proper trade. And I'm not saying this is the only way you're ever going to be able to get better. That's not true. I know I just mentioned, you know, logging in and bashing your head against the wall, essentially failure after failure. There's plenty of times, there's plenty of cases where people are going to do that, and ultimately they do overcome and they do get better. But what I'm specifically referring to with all of this is being a thinking mind and asking questions when you're watching a really good player. You know, why did they enter from here? Which angles did they check? Which angles did they not check? Did they know that there was danger there or not there? Did they just decide that the risk was worth the reward? You know, maybe this all sounds like a little too much, but at the same time, maybe it's the case that players that are really, really good are acknowledging and simultaneously diagnosing all of these things that usually bad players think aren't that big of a deal. And that's why they stay bad, you know? Maybe that's the case as well. All I'm saying is, if you really want to help yourself get better, you have to be able to watch and learn. Your ability to get better at whatever it is you're trying to accomplish is going to be vastly accelerated if you can accomplish that. The only other way I can think of to help yourself getting better outside of essentially being a student and learning on your own is having really good coaches or mentors, you know. And again, that's with any skill, not just this, but hopefully that helps, brother. All right, I almost forgot about bro here. Bottom, I appreciate you, brother, really do. I'm gonna run through these pretty quickly, so just, you know, pause the video wherever you need to. And yeah, brother, have at it. Oh, that's really low. I think that's controller. Gross, we don't need that. All right, well, I hope that was helpful. I know I didn't answer every single question that was left. If there was something that I missed, hit me in the comments. I'll try to hit you back. Probably not going to upload again until after Battlefield 6 drops. Pretty much going to be playing Overwatch until Battlefield comes out. I'll be streaming it. That game is a new experience to me. Honestly, it's pretty tough. Not that good at it, but as much as it tilts me, it's pretty damn fun. Like, I don't know, it is what it is. And yeah, I'll see you fellas later.
You've got a loadout drop in. Gas is closing in.
Truck, no casualties.
You're losing ground. Move it.
He's not legit. He's not legit. Oh my god.
Enemy UAV overhead. Ten remaining. Keep pushing. Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.